I think you get in the game, and it definitely affects you. Look, it affected me. I went for 2 when I should have kicked the extra point, right? I mean, it affects everybody. I mean, I can't fall into that. I'm not getting paid to make stupid decisions like that. But you fall into that, right? And so I can't let our players fall into that. So that's what we talked about this week. We cannot let that affect the way we play. We got to go play, and we can't let those things affect us. And the best way not to let those things affect you is to take care of the football. If we take care of the football, get lined up on defense, we're gonna be fine this weekend. We've never had this much difficulty, holding on the football on offense at the same time. But we're gonna get through it. We're not going to blame anybody. We're gonna look at how we coach it, and get better at it, and we're going to fight through this rough spot. This is a rough spot for us, but it's a time that we'll look to evaluate how we're coaching it, and players need to evaluate what their mental approach is to taking care of the football, and that's how we'll get through it.
You mentioned the other day about being 7 points from 9-1. The team also a couple plays from being 5-5. Is it one of those things where it's a fine line every week between winning and losing?
Yeah, it's probably been that way for the last 4 years. I think when we went 12-0, we could probably say there was 3 or 4 games, whether it was Pittsburgh or any of the other games that we played during that year, Stanford on the goal line. You know what I mean? I think college football is such that it comes down to a couple of plays, in the fine line. And that's why it's so critical that when you turn the ball over like we do, and when we turn it over, it's critical. I mean, it's catastrophic turnovers. We're turning it over on the 5-yard line, on the goal line. We're throwing it off our kid's helmet. It's bouncing up in the air, and they're returning it. They are absolutely critical turnovers. We're not getting the fumble that ends up in the end zone, and we fall on it. So it's a rough spot that we're going through. There's no question. But it is a fine line. But you definitely put yourself in those situations like Stanford when you turn the ball over like we did against Stanford. Now the game comes down to that. Or North Carolina, when you turn the ball over, it comes down to that. So we really think that the self-inflicted wounds on offense have been the story of this season so far.